Okay, so this is adapted on Harris again, and I want you to listen to Dan Pila speak about where manhood is right now. And he's absolutely right that a lot of men are acting like suckers. And he's going to express how he sees what's going on. And he's 100% right, from schools to militaries to the whole nine. And this is why Ahawa said that for us to remember ourselves as men, that we have to go through tough training, that we have to go through all of this rigorous training in order to prove ourselves to be men. Today, they don't want to do that. One of the things he's going to touch bases on is something that I hear all the time, and that is men who will say that they want their sons to be better than them. If I had a son, there would be no way in hell I would allow him to be better than me, because I would always want him to have the highest standard of manhood that there could ever be for him. But today you got these suckers talking about, I want my son to do better, have a better job than me. Man, come on, get out of here, man. And that's why a lot of you are not going to make it in the kingdom, because your mentality is a sucker's mentality. It's not real manhood. And that's why a lot of these women are bugging. That's why a lot of these women are out here doing what they doing, because they are no longer being, they're no longer encountering a real manhood anymore. They just got a bunch of guys that they can just push over. And that's has turned and made a lot of our women into hoes. But listen to what he says here. It's going to be kind of long. This is for private use only. I'm going to put it up on Facebook, but I'm not going to put it up on YouTube. But I want you to listen to what he says. Listen, because he's 100% right. This world has now belittled the man so much that men don't know how to be men anymore. Listen.
So that's why men are not strong so much.
Men are cunts. They should wear tampons. Because you're all cunts. And you can't help it. What the fuck do they know about anything? Nothing. What the fuck do they know about high performance? What the fuck do they know? They don't know anything. You've seen the movies with Mel Gibson, Mad Max. That's where we're headed. That's it. Money.
Now he's saying we headed to a Mad Max type scenario, because real men have been devalued. They have been pushed out of the way, right? And all of these girly men have been running the world. And because they are running the world, they have ran the world into this disaster that's about to happen.
Doesn't mean anything. Water. An asteroid's going to hit us. Not maybe. Not perhaps. You don't even hear about it, do you?
Welcome. Thanks for inviting us here. Marcin, I will be interviewing you. Me and Barnaba are going to publish your book in Poland to make sure that your wisdom lesson is going to be spread around the Poland. Have you ever been to Poland or not yet?
Many times.
And how was your impression after meeting Polish people? Did you saw different kind of mindset?
Well, most of Europe is lazy. And compared to most of Europe, they're not lazy. But compared to the United States, New York City, they're asleep.
That's why they choose to sleep. Why they choose to sleep? It's comfortable.
I asked a question at Krakow University. I still remember. I was standing in a big amphitheater. There's about 300, 400 kids. And there was 4 or 5 really attractive girls sitting in the front row right here. And I asked them, how many have kids? A few had kids. How many want to have kids? Almost all the women raised their hand, not all the guys. I said, do you want your kids to be like you? And the girls started giggling. And one said, of course not. Do you want your kids to be like your parents? They giggled even more. And somebody in the back said, fuck no. And I said, and then somebody in the back row, up by the back, and I don't know if it was a student or a professor, I don't know. My grandfather, he had balls. We don't anymore.
Now remember, the scriptures say that a Hawashai is an austere man. He's a hard man. He would talk to you just like how Dan is talking, right? This stuff of trying to love and push all this what I call fraudulent love has made our world has downgraded the men to the point that they don't know how to be men anymore. But the way he's talking is how is Shy going to talk to y'all?
That's why.
That's why I asked myself, do I want my kids to be the same as I am? And I answer was like, yes, but I want them to be more than me.
Well, you have low standards.
But for sure, I don't want to be like my father than my
Well, of
father,
course
for
you
sure.
don't.
You see that? You see, a real man would never ever say that their kids, they want their child or their son to be better than them. What did Dan just say? You have low standards. That's another man telling this man that he is a part of the problem. Men have stabilized the world since the beginning of creation. And now they want to soften up these men to the point that they want their sons to surpass them. And that's, can a Hawashai ever surpass a Hawa, the Most High? No. Christ can never, ever surpass his heavenly Father. A Hawa would never allow it. That's why he put him up upon the cross, to show him who's boss. You guys got to come out of this false, soft manhood thing. I don't know what they call it today.
You know, the theory was back to 200,000 years ago, when the first Homo sapiens developed from Neanderthals, that the kids would have a better life than their parents. When the parents' teeth fell out, the kids chewed the food and put it in their mouth because they couldn't chew the food anymore. That died about 150,000 years ago, where you want your kid to be better than you. It doesn't exist anymore. Now, when I went through the various museums, various Holocaust museums, and where there were a lot of brave Poles, But as the students told me, they're all long dead. But their DNA, unfortunately, is also dead.
Even DNA is dead.
It's dead, and not in real terms. It's still there, but
metaphorically.
But I remember.
See, that's a good point he just made, right? That they have softened up your ancestry so much that the DNA of the people that you would say are your ancestors or your family members have been so suppressed that you're not, that their children, right? All of these grandkids from the ancestors are no longer living by the DNA that they got from their ancestor. He made a fantastic point there. Let's continue.
I had two young PhD women. They were my escorts. And I had a Polish mentee that I called Lurch. If you've seen the Addams Family, there's a big guy that, that's what he looked like. So Lurch and we're in the biochemistry building or something, and everybody's whispering. And I asked Lurch, why are they whispering? I don't know. So he asked one of the PhD young women why they're whispering. This is the quiet floor. I look around and go, quiet for what? When you're stressed out, that's where you go as a student.
To chill, to relax, to calm down?
Yeah.
Like a silent panic room, whatever?
All the above. I couldn't fucking believe it. But that's not the only school. That was the first school, though, 5 or so years ago that I spoke at, where I was introduced to this quiet thing. Now I know virtually every university in the world has it. Even the military academies in America. Because life is too stressful. So you have to go chill. They didn't use that word, but it's quiet where nobody can. In the Army now, they give you a card when you go into the Army in America. And here in Britain, they give you a card that if the instructors are yelling at you too much,
Yeah, showing the card to them?
they have to back off.
Oh my gosh. In army.
Correct.
So that's why men are not strong so much.
Men are cunts. They should wear tampons.
You know, I asked my Instagram followers about questions for the interview for you guys, for you, sir, and it was so lame questions, and most of them were saying, "Be careful with the guy. He's crazy. He's gonna shout you. He's gonna be eating you alive." I was like, "I'm not scared at all. But why are you scared?"
That's exactly what I do. So but now, compared to the '90s when I started the seminar, the kids were tough, or tougher than now. We had a active duty major about 6 months ago, and he was in charge of security of one of the top secret installations in America with missiles and stuff. And he was about 30 years old, but he was so frustrated he was getting out of the military. Okay, and so we were talking, and he said he was fulfilling a lieutenant colonel's slot because they couldn't find a lieutenant, so they put a major there. And he said, and we have it on film, 40% of his men, he has 310 men, will not pick up a rifle.
Ever.
Think about what he's saying. Think about what he's saying. That this is how they have downgraded the man so much that you have men that are joining the military that do not want to pick up a rifle. That's sad.
They got in the military, you don't have to...
They get toys to practice, right?
No, they get blank guns. But they won't. They're supposed to guard an installation that has atomic bombs on it, and they won't pick up a real rifle.
It's too dangerous for them?
No, because they don't believe in it. But now, apparently so, and we've had other active duty military here. In fact, all the services have been here at one time or another. That whereas when I went in, they beat you. In exercises, they would put battery wires to your testicles. They would. The best man at my wedding, who became an FBI agent, they staked him out on an anthill and put honey all over him and left him there for 3 days. He almost died. This was the training. And now, fuck, I mean, Navy SEALs go home on the weekends. We're having a Navy SEAL come here this afternoon for the seminar that starts tonight. Active duty Navy SEAL. I'm going to ask him. I know the answer. They go home on the weekends. When I went through the OCS and Ranger School for 6 months, we had not 1 minute off in 6 months. Not 1 minute. Not 1 second off in 6 months. The training was 7 days a week, 180 days for the training. And they beat you. Literally, they beat you. And now you can't raise your voice. And the military here is no different than the military every place else, except for Russia. And in Russia, apparently that doesn't work there because Russia is, if you believe the news, is losing the war to Ukraine. Of course, everybody except Jesus is helping Ukraine. You know, well, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but the world is fucked. It just is. You know, we're going to shit.
So why people are lowering the standards? Why they are letting other people lower standards?
Because of the government intervention. Or the government, almost all governments are headed towards socialism.
Okay, that's the point. So they just want to pour money to solve the problems.
Exactly. This country is no different. I'm a dual citizen.
Now, black people in America should be agreeing with what he just said. The governments have been downplaying or dumbing down manhood, especially black manhood. And this is why we saw coming up in the 80s with Rayful Edmonds and the crack era and everything that we saw happening. That was their way of destroying the black male manhood, true black manhood. And now they're doing it to everybody. And that's what he just said. It's the government that has been downgrading your manhood, and you haven't even noticed it.
I'm a UK citizen and an American citizen, but we're using money for brains. Money for brains.
I've got 4 years girl, and she's in a kindergarten, and teachers are teaching her like it's fair when everyone gets the same amount of jelly, sweets, and so on. And I'm trying to explain to her that fair doesn't mean
That's
like
not
equal.
life.
It's artificial.
Now, my example of that is exaggerated. We were raised, share your toys. My dad never believed in that, okay? And my mother says,
Listen to what he said here, man. Listen. And Ahawashah is the Alpha and the Omega. Ahawa says that he doesn't share his glory with no one. Where did we adopt this mentality? From the educational system that the government gave us. This is what they telling you. This is what a real man is telling you. Listen.
let Johnny play with your shit. Now, I hardly had any shit. I was poor. So if I had more shit than the kid, he was homeless almost. And but now my parents should have said, "Fuck Johnny." And, Johnny, unfortunately had bad parents, meaning that they couldn't provide. When I was growing up, people didn't have kids. They used to say, "I'm saving for a house." Okay, you've heard that before. Yeah. They even say, "I'm saving for a car." Yeah. One of the people that works on this estate, this year, she is, instead of getting a new car, she's renovating her house. Next year, she'll buy a new car. So you buy shit when you have the money. Okay? So when I was growing up, they were saving for cars. They were saving for houses. And of course, now that you just go out and you get credit cards and you don't save for anything. Okay? The former Eastern European countries are more likely to be savers. The countries that were ruled under the Russian rule or the communist rule dating back to 1989 and 90 are more frugal. But they have kids, and you're all kids because you're either old enough to be your father or grandfather. They all have kids that, drive Ferraris they can't afford, buy penthouses they can't afford, and buy clothes. But I never hear anybody say, "I'm saving," except for one employee here, a lady. "I'm saving." Last year she said, "I'm saving to renovate my house this year, and next year I'll buy a new car." You don't hear that.
People have everything instant straight away
Instant.
with loans
and,
and,
and the kids today, more feel they're entitled. They say my generation fucked the world up. Okay, the generation before me saved the world, World War II, and I tore the financial guts out of the planet in the 80s. But there are kids today that are doing better than we did in the 80s. Bitcoin is the flavor of the day, the meta this, meta that. We'll see, and I've been around through many, many cycles. We'll see if all these stores of value, which are not a store of value, are around 25 years from now. We'll see. But getting back to your original question, in Poland, the government was super nice to me. They treated me like I was, the king of England.
You're kind of a...
Yeah. And so I was very happy. And I spoke at the university. But back to the question that I asked the girls in the front row. And we had a kid there, one of my mentees, a student. He happened to be a student at the school. And I had asked him before the talk if I could use his name. And he said yes. And I said, one of your students, one of your fellow students in here made €1 million last year while he was a student. And nobody asked me who he was. And he's sitting in this audience.
It's silence, right?
Yeah. And then I said, stand up. He stood up. A regular looking guy, not ugly, not Brad Pitt, but a good. And I said, do you have anything to say? He said, actually, I made a little more than $1 million, sir. I said, good. I spoke another hour and a half. Not one single student went up to talk to him. Not one. Not one single student asked his fucking name. I couldn't fucking believe it. And now he's gone. He graduated, and he's an internet guru, and he's acquiring using the QLA model, just like in the book. And now he's, I don't know, maybe he's worth 50 million euros or something. He finished his degree, and he was on the program to get a master's and a bachelor's at the same time. Okay, and every once in a while I talk to him, and he says nobody's Nobody's Googled me. Nobody's link fucked me. To this day, 5 years later.
It was my first thought that I wanted to meet the guy, and I will ask you after.
Well, I asked the same question at Oxford,
Yeah.
one of the premier universities on the planet. Okay, same question. Are you kidding? I don't want to be like me. Well, what about your parents? No, okay. And there was a guy in the audience who was one of my first mentees. He had come back 15, 18 years later. He went to Oxford. He went off to America and made $600 or $700 million. Nobody asked me. I didn't ask him to stand up at that time. Okay. So I learned from the first experience, well, maybe if I ask him to stand up, the students will ask. Not one fucking Oxford student wanted to know his name. And he had a Polish name, Jasopowicz.
Say again?
Jasopowicz.
Okay. I will find the guy.
Okay? Because you're all cunts. And you can't help it.
Okay, so what's the solution?
No, we're through. The human race is through.
Even this 1%?
No, but we're going to make, there's a saying, make hay. In other words, grow things while the sun's out. Stephen Hawking, the great professor, astrophysicist, who died a couple years ago, he said in 2004, we are nothing more than a educated monkey. Actually, he said chimpanzee. Educated chimpanzee with no skills, no special skills, and we are at the apex of humanity, Homo sapiens. He said in 2004. I didn't say that till 2012. 2012. Last year, NATO and the World Bank and International Monetary Fund published a survey. I am apparently the only human being on the face of the earth that's read it. 3,700 pages. Okay. It says, don't fuck, these are my words, don't fuck around worrying about climate change. We're through. The planet's through. You realize, this is old information. In 2000.
This is why I'm trying to press a lot of you men. The brothers that know me know I press really hard, right? We were talking about a brother this morning, my nephew and I, that I called back to have a meeting with me. And me and this guy got into it a couple of months ago. I dug into his spirit, right? Because I was seeing whether or not he was of God or not by digging into his spirit, right? Harshly, right? Like a man would, like a king would, because we can't afford to let y'all in to the kingdom. No suckers are getting into the kingdom. I know guys that just like he's saying, you're just a trained chimpanzee. You're not really actually thinking. You're not actually using skills. And we need to make sure that you are the right people to enter in this kingdom. So we have to dig into you. But what he's saying, right, regarding that report is 100%. A lot of you are just in la la land. You're not paying attention that these people done already abandoned plan B, C, D, E, F, and G. And so now we got to come and get y'all prepared harshly, real harshly. Listen to what he says.
January 1, 2022. If we stop doing all the things that the Greenpeace and the global warming fanatics say, we stopped everything, okay? Like magic, like God, all of a sudden, we would have, we will not change anything, and the atmosphere is going to stay the same between 500 and 1,000 years. If we stop today, we're through. The planet is fucking through. And Jeff Bezos and Elon, who I don't know either of them, but I know people that are part of their cadre. The real reason that they want to go to fucking Mars is they hope they can get to Mars before this planet blows up. Now, 2192.
Did you see that? Did you hear that? See, while y'all sitting around playing Christians, right? You're playing church. These people are trying to get the hell off of this planet. Black people are playing A, B, C, D, all the way to Z is gone. Howard Shah is all you got. King David is all you got. Listen, these white folks already know what time it is. Listen to what he's telling you.
Oh, 2142, excuse me.
And now you have Elon Musk, like I said in previous videos. Now you have Musk, a part of the administration. And these people want to go to Mars. They want to get off of the earth because the judgment, as far as they understand, is to the earth. But you and I know that the universe itself is under judgment. So it doesn't matter whether they go to Mars or not. They're not going to escape this judgment, no matter where they go in this universe. The universe is done.
An asteroid's going to hit us. Not maybe, not perhaps. You don't even hear about it, do you?
So I think you're the only one saying that for Elon Musk, it's only about ego thing going.
Well,
to
no,
Mars.
well, I mean, he's got a big ego, so do I, but he's got a big ego. But look at what he's accomplished.
Tesla?
Okay, well, I mean, but I've created more jobs than he has. I've created more money than he has. We're at $2.3 trillion now that I've created through morons like you. Just think of it. Morons like you. Maybe not you, but I mean, it's pathetic. When I get around, and I don't get around, and people like, and I worked with Steve Jobs many years ago, so I knew him. But when the few really smart, not necessarily wealthy, and some of the billionaires get together, they don't talk about any of the things you guys talk about. They know we're through. Just how much milk can I suck from the tit before I'm dead? That's all anybody thinks of.
All right, so that's James chapter 5, right? That the rich men are just going to heap treasures together for the last days because they know it's done. Matter of fact, I am going to put this up on YouTube. They know that they're done. And when y'all figure out that this is over with, that we are now in the cycle of starting over again, Howard is restarting the world again, just like in the days of Noah. When you figure that out, your habits will change. Your loyalty will change. Your discipline will change. What you think and you love will change.
I mean, up here.
And you're the only one saying that publicly. Most
Correct.
of them would never say that in front
Correct.
of camera.
Correct. But I've been outspoken. I went back to my grammar school, where grammar school is from you're 5 to 12 years old. First 6 grades. First through 6th grade. Last year. And that's where I tried to kill my teacher when I was in the 5th grade. And the principal, the guy that's running the school was there. And I went around to the rooms, and I was, and this is all on YouTube. I pointed to the window that I dropped the aquarium on the teacher, and I did it. But have a big mouth since grade school. And Muhammad Ali, before he was ever, he was Cassius Clay before that. Muhammad Ali, before he was ever champion of anything, was flapping his big mouth. I'm the greatest.
He was the greatest.
And he was. But he said it way before. Now, I've been talking like this since I'm in grammar school. And when I told the principal, when we were walking through the schoolyard, and then right here, I broke a kid's arm in 7 places. Right here, I told my wife. And right here, over here, I put a kid's eyes out. And the teacher was, but I started a music fund. I gave him money. That's probably the only reason he talks to me is because I gave him money. But I've been like this forever. I used to be, when you get in trouble, they used to take you to the principal's office sometimes I'd be at the principal's office 3 times before lunch. One day. Yeah, I mean, I was always in trouble. I tried to burn the school down in high school. I mean, fuck, you have no idea. I've been arrested, in jail 5 times. And my cousin, who I had met with for lunch 2-3 years ago, he says, Dan, I don't think it was 5. I think it's a lot more than 5. I think you're blocking out some of those, And he, now one of our tests on our website, the success test, one of the questions is If somebody came up and spit in your wife's face or your girlfriend, whoever, what would you do? And then there's 4 or 5 answers. And the answer that's
Now pay attention to what he just said, right? Because he's signaling to the rest of the elite that he has been initiated, right? So he's basically saying, don't F with me. Because this, what he's saying right here, is what they do when you get high up in these secret societies. And what they'll do is say, if they know that the man was a Christian, they'll pull out a cross and they'll tell him to spit on the cross. And if he can't spit on the cross, then they know that he don't need to be up in there, right? So what he's saying right there is he's signaling to the elites. And earlier when he spoke about the grades, he said 6. He didn't say 5 or 7. He said 6. So he is signaling to the beast establishment that he's a part of it. But the whole purpose of playing this video is to show you when you are a man and that you speak like a man and you don't worry about what people's feelings are. You worry about the results that person should get after listening to you tell them the truth, like we're telling you. Like I'm saying about Christianity, it's done. It's over with. These elites already know that everything that they threw out there on the public is not something that they even talk about. That's what this man just said.
most picked by the people that take this test is I would ask him.
Oh my gosh.
I would ask him if he was having a bad day. Now, is your English good enough to understand what I just said?
There's only one proper answer. Like,
Yeah, but no. 90. Our failure rate is now almost 99% of that test. It was 90. It was
You hear
94 to
that?
95% for years and years and years and years. But in the last 10 years, it's now up to almost 99%. But my cousin, the one that reminded me that I may have gotten arrested more than 5 times, he said, well, when we were in 1962, we were juniors, a year before graduation, and somebody said to him, his name's Ronnie, your girlfriend, Lola, I think her name was, looks like 2 gunny sacks, pigs in a gunny sack walking away, referring to her ass. He stabbed him 17 times.
oh my god.
By the grace of Allah, he didn't kill the guy. He went off to jail.
What did he say? By the grace of who? Allah is Hebrew for Elohim, right? So Elohim, see, these people know. They speak in Hebrews while you Christians are playing church. That's why I'm calling all of you out of that faith, okay? Out of that faith. Allah is Hebrew for Elohim or God in English.
17 times for saying that the girl's got a big ass. Now, you can fuck your wife in front of a football stadium and nobody's going to do anything. 87% Gallup poll, 87% of the people would rather take a picture with their iPhone watching a woman getting raped.
And interact and help.
Yeah, nobody interacts. 87% would rather take a picture with an iPhone.
And most of people won't say that you're wrong, but I know you're right. I think that's your part of your internet success, that you're telling the truth in front of the
Yeah,
eye.
well, my grandmother, when she died, she was 97. On her deathbed, she said something to that. My Spanish isn't good enough to say it in Spanish. She says, Danny, always remember to tell, when in doubt, tell the truth. And she looked at me in the eyes, and if it doesn't hurt, it's not the truth.
There you
If
go.
it doesn't hurt the other person,
There you
it's
go.
not the truth.
There you go. See, that's what I was trying to tell
I
you,
know this
Monarchs. Like the brother that was getting in his feelings about me trying his soul and still being upset 3 months later. That's not a man. That's a child walking around in a man's body. It's time for y'all to learn what it is to be a man. Be trained. Stop running. We got brothers that I know will never enter in the kingdom of God because they just don't want to be trained. They don't want to be trained. They don't want to listen. They don't want to follow the orders. What does the scripture say? That Obey them that have rule over you, for we watch for your soul. And these men today, they just take that information and just throw it out the window. They all want to be king, but they can't be king unless we are all reigning as kings together.